Good morning, everybody. Matt Moda here to give you my favorite NBA player prop picks for tonight. We only have one NBA game on tap, so I'm going to have two plays for you guys to lock in for tonight for tonight's NBA betting slate. We're talking Thursday, November 14th. Both plays I have, of course, are going to be plus money bangers. One play we're actually going to be laddering as well, so hopefully that comes to fruition for us. But that's how we're playing the NBA game tonight. Of course, before we can get into the picks tonight, we got to do a recap from yesterday, which ended up being a fine, nothing very exciting day overall, but not terrible either. I gave out 4 picks yesterday. We went 2 and 2 on those picks, but because all 4 were for plus money, we did make money yesterday. Granted, we made slight money. We were up 0.15 units, but hey, we'll take a day betting in the NBA when we are in the green. We cashed out Victor Wembanyama, 25 plus points. That one cashed easily. I should have laddered that considering he scored like 50 points. We cashed out Austin Reeves, 3 plus made 3-pointers. And then we lost DeMar DeRozan, 25 plus points. He was close. He scored 2 points. He also only played 17 minutes. Just a dead on arrival play there. Cam Thomas, 25 plus points. Looked good in the first half, but didn't do anything in the second half. So 2 wins, 2 losses, up 0.15 units yesterday. We're still looking to make our way back to breaking even on the entire season. As you can see, we are down about 4.7 units on the season. We are in the midst of a hot streak. We've been profitable for 5 straight days now, but because of how bad the beginning of the season was, we're still in a little bit of a recovery phase, getting ourselves to green. Of course, last year, the NBA was the best season I've ever had betting, up 118 units. Just an amazing season last year. So very, very confident that by the end of next week, hopefully by the beginning of next week, we're going to at least be breaking even on the year. Hopefully that starts with cashing out all of these plays tonight. So let's get right into it. Play number 1. Obviously, this is in the Mavericks versus Jazz game. And this is also going to be our ladder play. So Luka Donic, assist ladder. I'm taking him over 8.5 assists plus 105 odds at Bet365. That's for 1 unit. I'm also putting a quarter unit on him to get to 10 plus assists. That's at plus 190 odds, also at Bet365. So, Luka Doncic admittedly had a slow start from an assist perspective at the beginning of the year, but he's been much better recently. So, not necessarily a play in which you can look at his entire season hit rate because it's not going to be that impressive. He didn't get to 8 assists in any of his first 6 games of the season. Since then, he's done it in 3 of 5, with his potential assist numbers also way up as well. Looking at his last 5 games, he's had 2 games in which he's had 20 or more potential assists. He didn't do that in any of the first 6 games. And in the other game, he didn't have 20 potential assists. He had 15 actual assists. Now, one of the games he did go under this assist number was against the Jazz, but he had 8 assists in that matchup, so we would have just gotten the hook, which would be very frustrating if that happened tonight. And if you look at the season, including that Jazz game, he's had 3 separate games in which he's gotten exactly 8 assists. So it's been a little bit unlucky just getting over that hump to get to the 9 assist number before that luck finally turned the other way recently. And as I mentioned, his assist numbers have been much better recently. Now, he did miss it in his last start against the Jazz, but in general, this Jazz team is an excellent matchup for point guard assist props, especially the ways in which that Luka Doncic accumulates assists, which we're going to get into. But on the entire season, the Jazz have allowed the 3rd most assists to point guards in the entire NBA. And according to props.cash, they are the 2nd best matchup for point guard assist props as well. And you go through their game log, tons of point guards have had success from an assist perspective against this Jazz team. Last time out, Tyus Jones against the Jazz, 7 assists on an over-under of 6.5. Chris Paul, 9 assists on an over-under of 7.5. Josh Giddey, 7 assists, over-under was 6.5. Russell Westbrook, 7 assists, over-under of 6.5. Chris Paul, another time, 10 assists on an over-under of 7.5. And that's just looking at every game in the month of November. On the entire season, 10 of 14 point guards have hit their assist prop over against the Jazz. And it's all because of their aggressive style of defense, leads to a ton of catch and shoot 3-point opportunities and a ton of points to the pick and roll man, which means that guys like Luka Doncic, who drive a lot to the basket, who run a lot of pick and rolls, can accumulate a ton of assists against the Jazz. So with that thought in mind, a couple numbers to back it up here. The Jazz allow the 2nd most catch and shoot 3-point attempts in the NBA. They allow the 5th most points per game to the pick and roll man. but they allow the most points per possession to the pick and roll roll man. So when teams run pick and roll, they score at the highest frequency of the roll man scores at the highest frequency against the Jazz. That's a death sentence when playing Luka Donic, who's one of the best players in the NBA at running the pick and roll and just kind of analyzing the defense and finding whether it's time to score or time to pass. And against the Jazz, it's going to be pass more often than not. Luka runs the 4th most possessions as the pick and roll ball handler, and he has the 6th most drives per game in the NBA. And you look at his history against the Jazz the last 2 seasons. He's gone over this number, over 8.5 in 3 of 5 games. In all 3 games he went over, he actually had 11 or more assists in all 3 of them. So not only cashed the 10+ number, but even got to 11. And you look at both games in which he went under, he had exactly 8 assists. So if you're telling me basically the floor is 8 assists against this Jazz team, and one of the games he went under, he had 8 assists on 17 potential assists. We'll take that any day of the week. That's why this is a great play. That's why this play also has great ladder potential. That's our first one. Let's hope it comes to fruition. Next up, obviously the same game. We're taking Derek Lively III, 10+ points, +130 odds at bet 365. So on a related note to everything I just mentioned, our second and final pick of the evening is going to be a point prop for Derek Lively III. Great matchup against this Jazz defense. A lot of what I told you about why it's a good matchup for Luka assists is also why it's a good matchup for Derek Lively points. Obviously, these two are directly correlated, so we're just hoping here that we don't get double screwed and that both players go under, because that would suck. But looking at Derek Lively, he's missed some time due to injury. He missed about a little over a week due to injury. His first game back, he played 24 minutes and he scored 12 points. So the fact that they're putting him right into like the mid-20s in terms of minutes being played in his first game back is a good sign. That should be his floor tonight. Well, hopefully he plays a little bit more. His floor would be 24 minutes. I'd put his ceiling at about 28. For context, these two teams played earlier this season. Derek Lively played 26 minutes and he scored 14 points. And as I detailed earlier when talking about the Luka assist prop, this is a great matchup for rim running centers. That makes it a great matchup for Derek Lively III. And just to reiterate those numbers in case you missed it, the Jazz are allowing the 5th most points per game to pick and roll man, but they're allowing that on the most points per possession to the pick and roll man. So honestly, it's a good matchup for both Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively. The reason why I went with Lively, 2 reasons. Number 1, he scores a higher percentage of his points as the pick and roll man than Gafford does. And his point prop is like 2 full points lower than Gafford. Like if you're playing Gafford over like 10+ points, you're paying like -160, or you're paying over 10.5 for minus money. Whereas you can get Derek Lively 10+ for +130 odds. And I kind of view them as pretty equal in terms of their scoring profile and how many points they're going to score against the Jazz. So Lively, as I mentioned, scores a higher percentage of his points as the pick and roll man than Gafford. And both of these players do. They have a very similar shot profile. But Lively does a good job running the floor in transition. He also does a good job scoring via putbacks on like offensive rebounds as well. 2 areas of the floor in which the Jazz struggle against. The Jazz allow the most points per game via putbacks on the 7th most offensive rebounds allowed. So when teams are rebounding, getting offensive rebounds against the Jazz, they're putting it back. That's perfect for Lively. And, and the Jazz are allowing the most points per game via transition as well. You look back to last year, including the game this year, so the last 2 years, I should say, Lively has had 3 games against the Jazz in which he's played more than 20 minutes. He's gone 10+ points in all 3 of those games. I mean, if he doesn't play 20 minutes tonight, I will be shocked if he does. I'd be shocked that he doesn't score 10 points, making this a great play as our second and final pick of the evening. And that's how we got 2 total official picks for you guys to lock in, +1 ladder play. If you're interested in that, remember to like the video, remember to comment, remember to subscribe. All that stuff helps me out a ton. And if you're interested in getting all my plays sent to you and you don't want to watch the YouTube videos, I do have a Dub Club that's $5 a month. It gets everything that I'm playing sent directly to your phone via text, email, or Telegram. It's the same plays that you see me give out for free on YouTube and on Twitter. You just get them early and you don't have to watch the videos. So for people that are watching the video and the odds change, that's why I have the Dub Club, so you can get them as soon as I decide what a play is. That's the first thing that I do. Or if you just don't care to watch the videos or you don't always have time, the Dub Club is another avenue there. But everything I give out on the Dub Club, you can get for free on YouTube and on Twitter. So if you're not interested, no problem. You can do that. And that's all we got. I appreciate everybody for watching, and have a good one.